Now, I know I am not the only one who generally thinks that the current armor system in Delta Force kinda sucks. Armor is overall underpowered, and in most cases it's generally not worth splashing lots of money on the higher tiers of armor, and I definitely think you can see that in game right now. In my personal experience, most of the players you kill are just wearing tier 4 armor. I do occasionally come across players running tier 5, but this feels kind of rare sometimes. I do know there are far more important things to rant about right now, such as the cheating problem, the fact that the game doesn't have a solo mode yet, and much more. But armor is the main thing I wanted to talk about today, as it's one of the reasons why I've kind of stopped playing and haven't made a video in a while. To quickly sum up the issue, armor breaks way too fast, and it creates a really frustrating gameplay loop where you have to run away and repair the armor and repeat. I will demonstrate and explain why this is happening in the video and explain how this can be fixed or even improved, but if you want to skip straight to the point, I will leave a timestamp in the description. So let's talk about it. So jumping into the firing range, I have set up all the dummies in the firing range with all the armor types from tier 3 or tier 6. I am going to try and demonstrate this as fast as possible because honestly there really isn't much to go over. So basically I want to show you how fast you can break tier 4 armor with just tier 3 ammo. It should take about 4 shots. And then 3 in the chest to kill. So about 7 shots in total to kill the enemy, which is, you know, pretty easy to land in close range. It has a knockdown time of 0.6 seconds. Obviously tier 5 is going to do a lot better. Some would argue that's still pretty damn quick, which I also kind of agree with. Headshots are also a completely different story. Just helmets are basically completely useless in this game. In my opinion, I think helmets are absolute trash in this game. Tier 6 against tier 3, you know, it will take a while to knock down someone with tier 6 because obviously we're shooting tier 3 ammo, and this gun doesn't have enough armor penetration to knock them down, you know, fast enough. So I will explain why this is happening. So if we look at the SMG45's armor penetration, it's a total of 40. Armor penetration is basically the amount of damage it will do to the armor. And then if you look at the ammo types, it has a bit more data. So shooting class 4 armor will only do 90% of its damage, which is about 36. So we're doing 36 damage per shot against tier 4 armor. And remember, the armor only has 110 HP. It's still pretty damn quick. If we go up to tier 4, honestly, I think tier 4 ammo is all you need for this gun. Tier 5 is a bit, I mean obviously tier 5 is going to be absolutely nuts, but if you test it in the firing range you'll understand why. This ammo is all you need. It's just it's insanely powerful, it really is, and then if you shoot them in the head it's even more insane. So to quickly basically explain what's going on here is, armor does not have enough HP. It really doesn't. Consider I'm doing 40 damage a shot into armor there. Because if we look at the armor penetration fall off of this ammo, we do 100% of the armor penetration up to class 5 armor. And if we look at class 5 armor's health, it only has 125. It takes 4 shots to break it. And this is just one example. The SMG45 is a fairly cheap weapon, and the ammo is, you know, fairly cheap as well. And this is how effective it is against the armor in this game. One weapon I want to show you, which I believe is just completely broken in this game, is the AS-Val. In close range, this weapon is just absolutely disgusting. It's one of the reasons why everyone uses this in admin building and such. This has 48 armor penetration, and it has 972 RPM. And if we look at the stats on the ammo, it does 90% of its damage up to tier 4 and only 50% of its damage against tier 5. But because of the fire rate and overall armor penetration, it's not going to matter. Even with SP6, as you can see, we do 100% of its damage up to class 5, and we're still doing a total of 48 damage per shot. And let's quickly compare the knockdown time between all three types. 0.37, 0.55 and 0.56. And then with the helmets, it's just basically completely useless. An SP6, which is obviously a bit more expensive, is obviously going to do just as well. To put this in perspective, you can kill all 3 enemies with just 1 mag with body shots. Another weapon I want to show off, which I personally think is kind of fucking hilarious to be honest, is the 93R. This does 32 armor damage, and the ammo types are actually still pretty strong. As you can see, it does 32 armor damage, and the fall off is no different to the other weapons we just tested. And this weapon is also insanely strong. Obviously it struggles against class 6 a little bit there. But you can 2 burst pretty much every helmet in the game with it, with just tier 3. To even further prove my point, this target is 50 meters away and I'm shooting tier 3 ammo, and I can just show you how damn easy it is. Now I know I only showed a few weapons, but honestly this basically just applies to every weapon in the game. It's a big issue in my opinion. So to sum up the problem that this game has, armor does not have enough health and weapons do too much armor penetration. And the fix for this is actually fairly simple. They simply just need to reduce the overall armor penetration across the board for pretty much all weapons, and then give armor a bit more health. I don't think they should double it, as I think that could actually cause problems with the gameplay. Let's say this armor here, for example, maybe 40 more health. I think 40 more health on this armor here would be, quite respectable. Or they can simply leave the armor HP alone and just reduce the armor penetration for all weapons. I think that would make a bit more sense for development time and so on. I think if the developers was able to change the armor system to the way I've explained it, it could actually shift the meta up in a pretty good way and make rip ammo, which is an ammo type that specializes in flesh damage, a bit more viable. Rip ammo and other flesh ammo types just don't really get used often. In fact, I don't really ever see anyone use them at all, and this could be related to the nerf that happened about a month ago. However, I still think rip ammo is really effective in this game. This is the damage that rip ammo can do. It does 21 damage. But if you compare that to standard FMJ, it only does 15 damage. So let's make up a scenario here. Let's say you're getting pushed by a guy wearing full tier 6 and you try to shoot him in the body. Obviously it can be done, but I don't think everyone's going to have the reaction time of a potato and they're easily going to kill you. But if you go for the legs, you can drop him in about 5 shots. And if you use this with weapons that have a much faster fire rate, it's even more deadly. I think rip ammo is heavily underutilized in this game right now, and I think making these changes to the armor could make these ammo types a bit more viable. That's pretty much all I have to say, but in a nutshell, armor does not have enough HP and weapons do way too much armor damage. And to fix this, all they will need to do is buff the armor HP and reduce the armor damage across the board. Now I do think there is a fair counter argument to be made, and that is that this is a team based game and having all 3 party members be able to tank would easily cause more frustration than what it is now. So I think we need to find a middle ground. That's all I have to say right now, but if you have any suggestions for the current armor system or you disagree with what I have said, feel free to comment down below, as I am interested to hear what other people think. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe and leave a like. Thank you.